Hello, everyone, and welcome. I know a lot of you were really looking forward to this session. I know how excited you were. I was also excited, but unfortunately, we experienced some major network issues during our live session, and I truly apologize for that. But I didn't want that to stop you from getting the full value. And so here am I recording this just for you with the same content, with the same passion I had initially, but this time around it will be uninterrupted, right? And if you were with me during the live session, thank you so much for your patience. I saw some persons were still there until I closed the live session. And if you are watching this afresh, you're welcome on board and you are right in time. Today's topic is powerful. It is one of the things that you don't just watch and forget. You would need a pen, you would need a quiet place because I'll be dropping some insights that would also help you to shift your thinking. And so I'll be sharing my screen. If you I may not really talk about every single thing that I said before, but if you want to get the intro, you can go back and watch the live session I had. But this time around, I want to focus on the practical parts. So I don't just want to talk about the importance of data cleaning, what data cleaning is all about, because that was what I did during the live session. And so I'll be sharing my screen right now. And then another thing I would do is to ensure that I'm very calm so that while you are watching as well, it will be very easy for you to see what I did or I'm doing, right? What I did at that time and what I'm doing right now. And so the first thing that I advised was for us to duplicate these data sets that we want to clean. So I advised earlier that we don't just use the same data set to clean for our cleaning. So we duplicate it because one, we there may not be any other source. Like we may not have any other source. It's just for instance, you have a database where you have your table. When you drop that database or when you drop the table in the database, it means you won't be able to get that data again. So it could also be the same as this might be the only source that you have. So that's why it's also very important that you duplicate. Another reason is because you might want to refer back to what you had before. So that's why we would duplicate this. So I mentioned two ways to duplicate. It's either you right click on this. So I'm going to be doing this slowly so that you would get it as well. And then you can also practicalize along with me. So you right click and then you click on this move or copy. When you click on move or copy, we want to move this to the end. We click on move to the end and then we click on create a copy. You press OK. You can see that a new data set or a new worksheet has been created. Another way I suggested was that you can hold your control and shift key and then you drag it to the right. That is what will help it. So you can control, okay. So I will do it again for you to see. So you press your control and shift keys and then you drive this to the right. And you can see that new data set has been or new worksheet has been created. So let's delete one of them. So we have, let's permanently delete them because we only need one. So now that we have raw data, we can now rename this as cleaned data. So this is what we want to be cleaning. So I'll be doing it again for those that did not get the first time. So I'll be deleting this again. Like I said before, we have two ways. Is either you right click here or and then you select copy or move and then you click on create a copy. We want to move it to the end. You click on move to the end and you press OK. You can see that a new data set has been created. Let's delete it. Or another way you can do it is to press your control and shift and then drag it to the right. You can see that now we've created it and then we can change it to cleaned data. That's the first thing. So the second thing that I advised was for us to remove duplicates. There are some times that do entries, when they enter data, people make mistakes by adding duplicates, by unintentionally, of course. And there are sometimes that a customer can do transaction 2 times. And if you analyze that based on that, it's possible that you give out dirty insights. It's possible that you analyze dirty data, which should eventually lead to dirty insights. And it's also lead to dirty decision or wrong decision, which might affect the organization. That's why we remove duplicates from our data. And one thing, and during the live session, I also explained that there are 2 scenarios. I gave 2 scenarios, right? The first one was I issued out a registration link, a survey to everyone that registered. And over 470 people registered for the session. But then I discovered that there were some persons that registered 2 times. They registered more than once, which means that if I'm to use that dirty data to do my analysis, it will not give me the right insight that I want, that I hope to see. So if I see on 500 people that registered and the actual people that registered were just 479, it would make me to think, oh, I had 500 people who registered for the course or for the training, and then out of the 500, 100 people from USA registered for the course, and that is not true. So that will also affect the analysis. It will also affect the insights that I'm looking at. So another thing is, there was a time recently my department head, one of the department heads in my organization, asked me to analyze some data sets. I was so happy, excited. I did the analysis, but before doing the analysis, I did some cleanings, of course, and then I removed duplicates, right? After doing the analysis, I went back to her. I told her the way I did it, of course. I allowed her to know that, ma, I removed some duplicates. You know what she told me? She told me that no, I wasn't supposed to remove duplicates because it is normal for transactions to appear 2 times. So you can see that's why it is very important that you also engage with your stakeholders to understand the kind of data that you are working with, so that you will not assume. So we don't assume, because when you assume, you might assume wrongly. You might do the wrong thing. So that's why it's also very important that we engage with people, let them explain to us the data, explain to us the formats, explain to us how things are, so that we will not just analyze based on our assumptions. And that's why that's it, right? So what do we want to do? We want to remove duplicates now. So let's copy this. You will start removing duplicates by selecting Control A. When you select Control A, you click on data. And when you click on data, you come to this my right here, right hand side, under this data tab. You can see remove duplicate. One good thing about Excel is all these tabs here and all these subtabs, when you hover on them, right, it gives you the name of those icons. For instance, now we've hovered on this thing and we can see remove duplicate, which means it is what will help us to remove the duplicates. So now that we've removed the duplicates, we'll just come here, ensure that everything is selected. And another thing is, ensure that you check this part. If you don't check it, then it will be looking at other things. So my data has headers. So now that it has done that, you can see now that 18 duplicate values were removed. If we had not removed these values and we analyzed it like that, there would be an issue with the insights that we're going to get from this analysis, which is why it is very important that we remove duplicates. I hope this helps. Like I did earlier, I'm going to repeat it so that if you did not get it in the first instance, you get it now. So what you do is to go to your tab after selecting all your data. You go to the tab, data tab. When you go to the data tab, you come here. You can see remove duplicate. 2 things: ensure that everything is selected, everything is checked, and ensure that my data as value is also checked, right? And then after doing that, you can see now that 18 duplicate values have been removed. Thank you so much. So another thing, the second thing that we did was to ensure that these column headers were clear enough for those that would use it. We don't want a situation where someone would come from the team and ask us, hello, from this visual, what's the meaning of poor date? What's the meaning of cost? So we are trying to ensure that everything is clear. The column headers or names are clear, so that when you build our visuals, when you show them what we've analyzed, they will be able to understand what that tells them, the kind of thing that we're showing to them. So the first thing that we'll do is to change this one to customer name, customer ID rather, because this shows the customer ID. Then you can leave this one as name, or you can change it also to customer name. You can also leave this one at age, or you can change it to customer age. But anyone that sees age will understand that it is age, right? The gender as well can be changed. But you can see a different thing here. We have marital stat. Marital stat is not the correct formatting, or it's a typo, or it is not correct. So to make it clear for those that would use it, let's change it to marital status. And then we have purchase dates. We have push date, and it does not really have a meaning. So we change it to purchase date, and then this, instead of having AMT, let's have our amount. Let's change it to amounts, and then here we can leave it at location, or we can change it. So we can see that we've changed the column name. This is to ensure that there is clarity for anyone that wants to use it. So I don't need to change this one again to repeat this one. This one shows that it needs to be well arranged, what we've done just now. Then the next thing that we did was to look at each columns and identify things that needed to be corrected. So now that's what we want to do right now. The first thing that you do is to create a new column. How do you create a new column? You right click here. When you right click, you insert. Another way you can do it is to do your Control Shift and plus. When you do that, a new column will be created. Control Shift and plus. So now what we want to do, we can see that this our customer ID has a lot of spaces before the customer ID. It has a lot of spaces, and we can't use it like that. We need to erase them, we need to clean them. And one thing I said earlier was that there was a time I did a project, someone asked me to help him to merge two data sets together. Both of them they had a unique identifier, but one of the unique identifiers had space in between. And you know how lookup function is. When you are trying to look up the value, right? You're trying to join them together, it is going to throw an error. It threw an error. So what I did was to remove all these spaces first before working on it, because the two unique identifiers were not consistent, they were not the same. So how do we remove these extra spaces? You write your equal sign. It shows Excel that you're trying to do some calculations, you're trying to use some functions. So you write your trim sign, and then you have your parentheses, open one, and then you click on the cell that you want to work with. There are two ways to do it. Is either you click on this cell, you close it, and then you press enter, and then you come here and double click, and everything works. Or, so I did Control Z now, right, to go back to what I was doing. Or you come here and then select everything. When you want to select everything, use Control Shift and your down key. When you do that, everything selects, because there are some times that you'll be working with a million data, 10,000 data, be dragging it down, right? So it is very, very important for us to know these shortcut keys. These shortcut. So I've done Control Shift, and then I'm going to enter. You can see that everything has been populated, right? So now that we've done it, we've removed it, we have two data sets, we have two columns, right? For customer ID. One is clean and the other one is dirty. If I'm to remove this thing that is dirty, if I should remove it, it is going to throw an error. No, I added a new column. So if I were to delete uh, this column now, it's going to throw an error here. Why did it throw an error? Because it's still referencing it. There is a formula here, which means we need to copy it and then paste as value, so that by the time we are deleting, by the time we delete this column, this dirty data, it will not throw an error. So that's why you copy here. Oh, sorry. When you copy, right, and then you paste as value. So now that we've pasted as value, you can easily come here and delete it. Is it clear? you can do it again. You can go back and rewatch this. So what I would do is to do it again so that we would see, so that we would get what I just did. So I just inserted a new column now. We want to trim it. So like I said, it is very, very important for us to remove the extra spaces. And what do we use to remove? We use trim. So you come here, you open it, you come here. I showed you two ways. Is either you select that cell, just that cell, and then press enter and drag it here, which is one way, right? I'm doing Control C so that I can do it again. Or I come here, drag it down. Sometimes you don't have you have a lot of data sets working that you're working with. So I don't advise people to drag down. What you do is you use your control shift and your down key. When you do that, you press enter and you can see that everything has populated. And another thing I did was to copy the column name. You can see now that we have two columns. One is dirty and one is clean. If we delete this thing like this, it will throw an error. And it's throwing an error because this cell here or this column is referencing this cell, this column here. So that's why it is very important that we copy the column, right? The cleaned column, and we paste as value. When you place as value, like I said, you Control C is copy, and then you right click, and then you click on 1, 2, 3. This 1, 2, 3 shows us that we are placing as value. Or you copy it and come to this side and place as value here. Hope that clears it. Thank you very much. So for the next one, we did two things here. For this customer's name, we have extra spaces and we have inconsistent naming convention, right? This Og Sullivan, we have Aaron Gardner, we can see that they are lower cases. We have Robert Atkinson. This person is name is written in uppercase, so it's not consistent, and we want everything to be consistent. So we will need to impute another column. We want to so now let me insert this column. You can see that I've inserted the column. So what I will do is to write my equal sign, right? And then we write trim. You open your bracket as you said before, you click, close it, and then you press enter. You can see that nothing changes. That's because this Elizabeth Evans is already in correct format, right? And then let's double click here. You can see that everything has changed. These extra spaces here have changed. These extra spaces before the uh, names have changed. You can see. So now that's the first thing. Another thing, you can see that this one is in capital, this one is in small letters, this one is in normal letter. We want to ensure that everything is the same. So rather than us opening the bracket, sorry, creating a new column and doing it again, we want to we want to combine the two formats, they combine the two functions rather. So let's come here, we've used the right proper, or let me use the value or the cell that you want to work on, closing two times. That's because we have one bracket here and we have another one to complete this here. Then you close it. When you close it, let's double click here. You would see that all these have changed now. So I'm going to repeat it for those that did not get it the first time. So like I said, we have two things to deal with here: extra spaces and the inconsistent formatting. So the first thing we'll do is you open the bracket, you write your trim, you open the bracket because we want to do the two at once, and then you click on this, you close it again because we have two brackets opened here. Then you press enter and then you double click here. You see that every single thing will reflect. As you like I've been doing since, you copy this name, you put it here, and then you copy this clean date. You do what? You paste it as values. You know why we are pasting as value? We are pasting as value because if we remove this thing ordinarily without pasting error, a reference error, because this is referencing this one. So let's delete it. Now that we are done with the two columns, the next one is to go to the third one. So these were the ones that we did not do, and that is what I'm going to be showing you right now. Thank you very much for those that were able to wait. I appreciate it. Okay, so what we'll do now is to look at this age. So you can see that we think I'll delete this. So let's look at the age. How do we know? Because like I said before, this is a sample data, right? And in real life, you'll be working with thousands of rows, thousands of records, thousands of user information. You're not just working with a customer. You're not just working with the 500 customers that are here. You might work with more than that. And we can't be scrolling to see, okay, this one is 20, which other one is 20. To avoid all these things, what we will do is to copy this. When you copy it, we want to filter, right? So you come to your data and then you click on filter. You can see that we have our filter already. So this filter will help us to know the unique values here. You can see all these figures, right? And then we can see text and blanks here. You can see 20, a text data type, and we don't, it's an age column. An age column shouldn't have text, right? It should be in numbers. So now we want to change it. How do we change it? What you do, the first thing that you do is to select your column. When you select your column, you do Control H. Control H helps you to find and replace. So anywhere it says 20, we want it to change it to find it and replace it. So now I've written 20. Now I've written 20 in numbers, and then you replace all. You can see that 123 has been replaced. We have 120, 163 replacement. If you filter down to this again, you would see that we've successfully removed the 20 in text. You can see that we can't see anyone anymore. So I'm going to be repeating it for those that did not get it. So I said, looking at this thing, if you have a lot of roles that you're working with, a lot of customers that you're working with, it is not advisable to manually scroll down to check the rows that have text in the age column. We'll be using the filter function. When you use the filter function, when you click on this drop down, you would see the different values, unique 20 in words is the only one that we have. What do? We use our values. So wherever it says 20, we tell it to be changed. Another thing that we need to deal with here is missing values. We are going. So now we are moving to the next column, which is gender. Now we want to change gender. Once again, you use your filter, check the unique values. You can see F and you can see M, right? Excel does not automatically know that F means female until you change it. So if you are trying to summarize this data now to check the number of female customers we have, Excel will give you F, the number of customers that are female rather, the number of customers that have M as their gender, and the number of customers that have M, which does not really help us in our insights. That's why it's also very important to ensure that these are written, these are. So what we'll do as usual is to copy this and replace, find and replace. So we are telling Excel, help us to find where F is and change it to female. So I'm going to be showing you something here. If you to replace anywhere it sees F, it's not going to look at everywhere because we've selected column. So any it is going to replace. So let's do it. So you can see that it has replaced F, the F, replaced female. You know there was female here. It replaced it with female F, right? You can see here, you know there was female here. So anywhere it saw F, it replaced it with female again. So that's why it is very important to also, I will show you now, Control F again. It's also very important to click on match entire content so that anywhere it sees that the whole cell content is F, let it change it to female, right? You should ignore every other place that has F with other words. F. So when you replace all now, okay, I need to go back. because it can't find F anymore. So now I've gone back. You can see now that we have F and we have female. So we are telling it that it should match entire cell content. Anywhere it sees just F, it should replace it. And you can see now that 114 has been replaced and nothing was done here. This female is female, it did not change. So another one is checking M, right? So M, we discovered earlier that we have M and M is male, right? So now we want to change it, ensure that this one is also checked so that it will not look at any other one and replace it with male. So you can see that we've replaced every single thing. Always save your work when you do some changes. So you can see here when we filter, we can see female and we can see male. So I won't do this again because I had already done replace and find the other time. So I would like you to do it yourself, right? Do it yourself, change it yourself. We want to ensure that everything is consistent. The other time for age, we saw that age had 20 in words. It was meant to have just 20 in figures or in number, but it had 20 in words. And then we used our find and replace control H to do it, to replace it. The next thing we did was checking for gender. The next thing we did was checking for gender, and we discovered that using the filter function or filter feature, we discovered that we had male, we had M, we had female, and we had F. And that's why we've changed it. We used replace and find also to change it. But this time around, we selected the match cell content. Let's check it again. Oh my. Okay, so let's check it again. You can see, let's do Control H. You can see that match entire cell content was checked here. So that's what we must do so that it will not change anywhere it sees M, it will change it to male. So to avoid that, M must be there entirely, like the entire content rather must be M for it to change. Then the next thing that we'll do also is marital status. Marital status. Another thing that would help us, like I said before, is to use your filter function. This filter helps you to see the unique value in your column so that you'll be able to know the things that needs to be changed and adjusted. So now we can see marred, we can see single, and we can see songle. Marred means married, but we don't want them to be confused. We want to write the actual thing there. Maybe it was a typo, who knows? And then we have single, and when we have songle, this one was a typo. We can see songle, so we want to change it to single. So what do you think we'll do now? What we'll do is to do what? Is to use our age function like we did before. So your replace. So here, what we'll do is to write marred, and then you change it to married. So when you change to married, let's replace all. You can see that everything has been replaced. Please don't forget to copy the whole colon when you are making your changes. And then the next one is songo. You know that we had songo earlier, and then let's change it to single. So we want to change every single to single. So when you do that, you click on replace all, and you can see that everything replaces. When you come to this place, your filter, you would see that everything has changed. We only have two categories, which are married and single. Is that clear? If I'm too fast, please, you can always go back to it. I don't want this video to be too long, and that's why I'll be a bit fast, right? Please go back to it, watch it again. If you have any questions, I'll be sending a survey after now, so you can check it again. Okay, so now that we've done it, so we've been able to clean the customer ID, we've cleaned customer name, we've handled the age group, we also handled the gender colon, and now we've dealt with marital status. So now we want to deal with purchase date. You can see that there are inconsistencies here. Let's remove the filter. We can see that there are inconsistencies. Some of them have slash, some of them have dash. So just so inconsistent. You can scroll down and see how inconsistent. Come to your home tab after selecting purchase date and you change it to short date. Nothing will to be in short date, nothing will change. If you want everything to be in long date, some will not change. You can see now how inconsistent it is. But let's take it back to where it was before. Let's take it back to where it was before by writing Control Z. So how do we ensure that everything is consistent? I'm going to be doing this one again. So let's see, just watch it again. So I'm copying this colon and then I come to this data tab. And when I come to this data tab, you click on text to colon, text to colon, and then you click on this fixed width. When you click on this fixed width, click on next. When you click on next again, and then you click on date, this date sign here. When you click on date, you come here and change it to what you want it to be, the format you want. If you want it to be in day, month, year, click on day, month here, and then you press finish. You can see that everything has changed. Everything is now okay. So I'm going to undo it, and then so I've undone it. You can see that it is now dirty. I said the first thing we will do is to go to your data tab, text to colon. When you click on text to colon, you leave it at fixed to remove or to split anything. We want it to be there. We want it to just to ensure that the format is consistent across the whole column, right? You've clicked on fixed width. The next thing is to click on next. So now that we've clicked on next, click on new. Now that you've clicked on new, you come to next rather, you click on date because we are dealing with date, and then you come here, change it to DMY, and then you press finish. You can see that these are successfully created. So I would like to check if what I'm doing okay. Okay, it's still working. All thanks to God. Okay, so now that we've done this, the next thing is now the amount. You can see the amount. Let's use our filter function to also see what is happening there. Let's see the filter function. You can see that everything is okay except for blank. Usually it means dollar sign here. You can see naira sign. You can see your currency sign here. Remove it because when you upload it in your database, it will see it as text and not, you can put it back, of course. But if you are trying to import it into the column, right, as text instead of number, you know it is amount, is meant to be numbers. So now that we've looked at this, we can see that this is correct. This is not dirty except for the blank. We're going to be looking at that later. We can see location. We can see location. And let's see, we can see India, we can see Lagos, we can see South Africa, we can see Spain. But what we need to clean here is to ensure that this is converted to proper. So it's meant to be in proper. The first letter is meant to be capital, the rest should be normal words, right? South Africa also is meant to have that. So we write our proper, the parentheses, and then you click on the cell that you want to change, then you close it, and you can see here that I've changed it successfully. We can see that everything has changed. I'm going to do it again so that we'll see it. The first thing is to proper, to write proper. When you write proper, you close it, you open it rather, you click on this. I said two ways to do it. Is either you click on this South Africa and cover it, or you click on South Africa and you press your control shift down key. You can see that because of the empty spaces there, and you bring it down. So you can see that we are bringing it down to the last shift. If this one is going to take too much time, you can just write the first one and then double click on it. Okay, so this is the last one. We close it and press enter. You can see that this has been adjusted. So you can also see empty spaces like I've been doing since. You copy your location, you put it here, you copy this new one, you copy the new one, you copy and then you paste as value. So we cleaned this data. The only thing that is left now is the empty cells, the empty cells. Now we don't want to assume for age. Normally we would have maybe written zero, but human somebody's age cannot be zero now. So let's take that aside. Then amount, we can easily suggest that amount could be zero if we don't have anything there to zero. But for location, we can't change it to zero, right? What we need to do is to change it to any, because we can't assume, we don't want to assume unless you reach out to the team and ask them why these are like this, why this is like this, that kind of thing. So what we want to do is to fill the amount column. We want to fill everyone that has zero. You can see here. So we want to fill the empty space with what? With zero. So we've selected everything. If we were to select the whole column, it means it will change all these empty seats down here. It will change them to zero. What we want to do, use your Control H as well, and then find what should this find? It should find empty cells. I want it to replace every empty. You can see that 10 entries have been 00 dash dash here. You can see that it has been changed. So another way to deal with this missing value, that I would have loved everyone to watch it. Yeah, we are watching it already. Thank you so much for watching again. Is to fill every empty space with NA. So I'm not coming here and writing, okay, this one is NA, and then I come here and then I go to this place, I write NA. What if you have a lot of NAs? How do you handle it? And that is what we want to do right now. What you do is Control A. So we want to select everything so that every other place that has empty space, because we think that is what we are supposed to do, right? The first thing I told you earlier, ask questions from your stake audience, those that will use the analysis, so that you will not assume. So now that we've controlled A, what we'll do is to Control G. So Control G gives us our go-to dialog. It has given us. Then you click on special. When it clicks on special, you're going to see blank, and then you press OK. So now you will see that it has selected all the empty spaces. Now that it has selected all the empty spaces, what we'll do here is to come to the formula bar here and write NA rather. So if you write NA and press enter, it will not affect. It has not selected everything. But what you will do is to write NA and press Control and enter. Everything changes. You can see that this was not even selected. This was supposed to be selected, but it was not selected. And so let's do it again for everyone to do. So this is like the second time I'll be doing it for those that did not get it before. So I'm trying to ensure that this one has zero. Yeah, it's corrected. So we are dealing with age and location. So we are dealing with age and location. The first thing I said we'll do is to do Control G. When you do Control G, you go to special. When you go to special, you click on blank. All blank spaces will be selected. And when all blank spaces are selected, you write your NA and then you press Control and enter. So this has been changed. This one is still not changing. I don't know why. But let's see whether it's going to change. So like I said, Control G, and then you go to special, and then you come to blank, and then you, okay, no. And this is the case because I think it does not recognize it. Unless there is space here. Okay. All right, so let's do that again and see what happens. In order not to allow this to be long, Unless there is something in here that is not recognizing. Okay, let's change it. Okay, empty. And then let's see if this one will change. Let's see whether it is going to work. They said it has changed though, so it has finally changed. I wonder why that did not work with this. So what we did was to control, what we did here was to use our find and replace to edit it. Now, one last thing before I close this session. It's very important that for any values, even before, there are some times that you impute, just like what we did before, we impute 0. There are some times that we replace them with NA. There are some times that we delete them automatically or finally, especially when you discover that your record, the customer has a lot of missing value. It means it will not really be useful for our analysis. And so when you how can we know? So instead of us coming here to count all the NA values, we use the count NA function. So you see count NA, count blank function. So you open the bracket and then you select this whole row, you close it and then you close it. You would see 0. That's because we've already dealt with them. You can see that everything is 0, right? It means there are no sessions. What if we had not filled it and we have a lot of empty spaces? What you would do is to check whether this has like more than 5 empty space. If a customer has more than 5, we have like 8 rows here, right? 8 columns, 8 columns, right? Out of 8 columns, if you discover that a company has like 5 missing values, this will tell us that it is 5, and then you remove it. You filter and then remove anyone that has up to more than 5 empty spaces. It means it will not be useful. Let's put it in, okay, some grid lines. Final, you come here, you highlight the header, you come to this side, you can color it, and then we come here, write blue, and then we can bolden it by using Control B, and then you can readjust the width of the data set. You can see how beautiful this is, our clean data. As compared to this, you see how it is compared to this. Even when you want to analyze this thing, it will be interesting. You will enjoy analyzing because it looks beautiful. In our next video, we'll be having Ask Me Anything session, right? We'll be having Ask Me Anything session. Ask me different questions that you have about data analysis, about questions that have been ringing on your mind. And I sincerely hope that there won't be interruptions. I only tried this out because I felt a lot of people would be around at night, which was why I set this meeting to be done at night. But next time, I think we will do it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I sincerely appreciate every one of you, especially those that waited until the very end. Right? It was such a pleasure doing this with you. If you have any questions, I have a WhatsApp channel. I have my email address. You can always reach out to me via email. You can ask questions on my LinkedIn page as well, maybe under a post. You can ask your questions. I really appreciate or you can ask your questions under this video so that I can answer them, right? I can answer them. So thank you everyone once again. We've been able to clean this data, which means this data is ready for analysis. Like I said, don't just start. And I said earlier that a beautifully designed dashboard built on dirty data is what you are telling lies. Of course it is. So it's always advisable. I also said messy data comes from messy insight come from messy data. So it is very, very essential for you to clean your data so that you will not give wrong analysis, wrong insights to your audience, which will eventually affect their decisions. Thank you very much once again for joining this session. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe. If you have not joined my join WhatsApp channel, join my channel, and I believe that I will continue to share valuable resources as this. Bye until next time.